Do the Ori use Stargates? You'll find out right after this. Hey everybody, I am Taylor and I'm the Stargate Guy, where I talk to you about everything and anything Stargate. Today's another crazy theory, and we're talking about a question posed by Edmund Dantes on sci-fi-exchange.com. We know the inventor of the Stargate, Emilius, had left the Ori galaxy with other Oterans before he created it. All we see are the sketches/designs made on paper. Therefore, either the Ori do not have the knowledge of how to create them, or they have invented them on their own. They surely have an understanding of the technology. We see them using the Milky Way Stargates, and they have constructed the Supergate. We know that the priors arrive in the Milky Way galaxy through Stargate, so we assume that there's another gate on the other end. But do we ever see one? There might be a local Stargate network in the Ori galaxy, or maybe they have just tapped into the Milky Way network with a different device. Now, we do know that the Ori and the Oterans are the same species, except they diverged several million years ago, with the Oterans believing more in science, logic, and reason, and the Ori believing more in religious and forcing that religious philosophy onto others. So the Oterans left, and that's where we see the sketch of the Stargate. Now, we do see in Stargate SG-1 Season 9 that the Ori do have the ring transporters, that they were able to transport a Prior, Daniel, and Vala from one side of the planet to the other in order to go to the planes of Celestis. We also know that these rings are a precursor to the Stargate. We know this because they work on kind of the same principles, except the rings are on a lot smaller scale, and it's more teleportation, not wormhole travel. But we do know that when a being ascends, it does not make them all-knowing and all-powerful. We find that out particularly with Daniel Jackson, because he was just as much of an idiot when he ascended as he was in real life, except his perspective of the universe changed. But he didn't know everything. That's not how Ascension works. Therefore, when the Ori ascended, they did not become these all-knowing, all-powerful beings. Therefore, some remnants of the Stargate technology, some of those ideas that were floating around millions of years ago when the Oterans were there, must have survived to some sort of extent in order for the Ori to have those basic ideas and theories enough to know enough to build one Stargate. Since one gate is needed to transmit matter from one to the other, therefore the Ori had to have had a Stargate in their home galaxy in order to send a prior to the Milky Way to establish a beachhead so that they can send their ships through with the giant Supergate. Now, this brings us to the question of whether or not the Ori has had Stargates this entire time, or if, as I theorize, they just built one to invade the Milky Way galaxy. Now, in order to answer this question, we need to understand who the Ori are and what their MO is. So the Ori are ascended beings. Their idea is to get more power. By that, they require the worshiping of their followers, and they use the promise of Ascension in order to get those followers to worship them. They use priors in order to enforce their will. They do have a strict view against anyone who uses any sort of technology or scientific thought above that of, well, a cart and a horse. I theorize that the Ori do not need Stargates, and in fact they would absolutely hate having Stargates in a regular, not invading another galaxy kind of way. Having a Stargate encourages interplanetary trade of both things and ideas, and other ideas are dangerous against the Ori. They will not have them. Therefore, having a Stargate is more trouble than it is worth. But this brings up the question, how do priors get from planet to planet in order to spread the idea and message of origin and enforce those rules? The answer is, one, they don't really need to, and two, they use their magic super freaky powers if they ever want to get from one place to another that does not involve rings from one side of the planet to the other. Now, would they need to go to different planets? No. We're talking about an entire galaxy full of people following origin, which means enough fanatic people scattered along every single planet in the galaxy where you could turn into priors. We don't know how many priors there are, but I'm guessing it's several per planet. We gotta remember, planets are freaking huge. They're not just the areas around the gate. And now, we do know that priors are sent one at a time to planets in the Milky Way galaxy, but you gotta remember they're invading a new galaxy, so not only do they need to have enough priors to keep the peace at home and to keep people well rallied up and going about origin, but they're invading a whole nother galaxy, which means they need to have their priors spread a little thin Plus, the powers of the ascended Ori don't work in the Milky Way galaxy because the ancients are keeping them out of the Milky Way galaxy. So if priors absolutely need to travel within their home galaxy, I theorize that it is a combination of their enhanced abilities brought on by the Ori and the Ori themselves helping to transport those priors from one place to another if needed. However, I bet that they won't really need to. They can just transform a fanatical person on each planet in order to be a prior and to have them enforce the will of origin. So, do the Ori have Stargates? They have at least two, one giant supergate and one gate that they made in order to send a prior to the Milky Way galaxy to form a beachhead. But they do not have Stargates scattered throughout their galaxy where people going back and forth, back and forth. And priors are able to use Stargates in the Milky Way galaxy because they were given the knowledge by the Ori of how to use the Stargates, not necessarily how to make Stargates. The Ori are about confining actual knowledge and spreading only the knowledge that they themselves believe in. So let me know what you think about this theory in the comment section and down below. And if you're new to this channel, go ahead and subscribe. Great videos are coming out every week where I talk to you about everything and anything Stargate. You can click right here for another crazy theory, or you can click right here for some more Stargate awesomeness. Thanks to everyone who bought me a cup of coffee this week. You guys are amazing. And until next time, I'll see you on the other side.